Vintage ABS pipe fittings. Let's start with this Yardley ABS double T fitting from the 60s or 70s. Now this T fitting is 3 by 1.5 inches. So the main vertical line would be 3 inches, and you could have 2 horizontal 1.5 inch lines dumping in from the side. Now this fitting has threads on the top, and I'm not sure what the main reason for those threads were. Now I've heard that they could have taken a 3-inch bale closet flange and screwed this into the top, and then had 2 lines dumping into the side. Maybe one could be a sink and one could be a tub. And I've also heard that you could have taken a 3-inch copper male adapter, sweated it onto a copper pipe, because they still used copper drains back then, and then you could have screwed this on the top with probably wicking or pipe dope. You can see it says Yardley, NSF DWV, and you can see how NSF is not in all capital letters. Nowadays, they put NSF in capital letters. There's some numbers over here, and I'm not sure what those are, because there's also numbers right here, and those look more like a part number. ABS. It says UPC right there, and they don't put UPC on fittings anymore, and no other company does. And when I look at this same exact fitting, I noticed that it had different markings. You can see it says Yardley, but it doesn't say UPC. It says something like WPOA, and I've never heard of that code. I've only heard of UPC, which is on this fitting, IPC, IATMO, and whatever code Wisconsin has, because Wisconsin has a special code. Now, Yardley fittings would also have these markings in white. Now this fitting, it's in numbers, but this fitting, it's letters right there. And I'm not sure what those markings are. Now my guess is that it was something that had to do with the molds that they're made in. You can see it's also on this Yardley fitting, a lot different. And these markings are faded away, but you can kind of see where they were. And this one actually has it twice. One here and one here. Now the next fitting is this Gsr Clean Out T from the 70s. And I can tell that this is a Clean Out T because the threads are short and the geometry of the fitting. These 2 connections would be glued in, and then you could have taken 3-inch clean out plug and then screw that into the side. That's where it says GSR. Another name for GSR was R&G Sloan. UPC, NSF DWV. You can see how it says it the newer way. And that's the head of a screw. When they're screwing the molds together, the screw head would show up in the plastic. That's the part number, and that's ABS. Now this fitting is made in California, but GSR also made pressure fittings in Mexico. Now I don't know of any DWV fittings being made in Mexico though. Now, on this side, it says NSF the older way, so I'd assume that this is made in the transition period around the early 70s. Now this is another fitting. You can see that's the ITT Grinnell logo. Kind of like those 2 squares in a diamond shape almost. And ITT Grinnell is still around, but they make grooved fittings for sprinkler systems. UPC, made in the USA, and not many fitting companies put made in the USA in their fittings. Probably because you expected things to be made in the USA back then. NSF, on the other side, it's pretty much the same thing. It looks like there's more information on that side. And this is just a normal ABS clean out plug. The only thing special about it is a brand and the fact that it's made in the 70s. Now the last fitting is this 1.5 inch clean out plug made by Crestline. Crestline is also still around, but they only make pipe. They don't make fittings like this one. See, that's the old Crestline logo. NSF DWV. That's the part number, and that's the screw head. Now on this fitting, I noticed that it says NSF the new way and the old way, just like this Clean Out T. So I'd assume that this is also made during the transition period. Now let's say that this fitting has threads. You could have screwed this into the fitting, and then you could have unscrewed it to snake a drain. Now the only issue with these plastic cleanout plugs is that they kind of get all dented and scratched up with the pliers, so I always had to use a crescent wrench.